Hello everyone, it's pleasure to meet you. So my name is Rizki Silvia Ariyani. I'm from Skill 4 class and welcome back to my channel. And in this time I'm going to share you tips and tricks for improving your public speaking skills. So when you think of impressive public speaker like Seth Godin, Simon Sinek or Gary Vaynerchuk, one thing sticks out: their passion for the topic. That excitement is infectious and inspiring. It's also the best way to attract and maintain audience attention. Whether you want to expand your public speaking resume or just get better at presenting in front of clients, these tips can help you meet your goals. But remember, if you master all 17, the most important things you can do is to get fired up about your topic. Find an angle that excites you, and the rest will come. So, here are 17 tips to improve your public speaking skills. Before we start, I'm going to show you. So, this guy is Seth Godin, and this guy is Gary Vaynerchuk, and this is Simon Sinek. Uh, I'm just going to tell you about that. And the first one, for the tips, we have define your end goal. The first thing to do when preparing a speech is to define your end goal. What do you want the audience to do after they leave the room, or what information should they walk away with? Once you have defined what you want your audience to take away, build your talking points around supporting that goals. This lends itself to a more focused and actionable speech that provides real value to your audience. For example, let's say a big conference has invited you to speak about how small businesses can grow their sales organization. Start by nailing down your objective. Uh, if it's getting the audience to hire you as a sales consultant, build your speaking topic around 5 things preventing small sales organization from scaling. And the second one we have be a giver, not a taker. So, renowned speaker Simon Sinek says, "We are highly social animals. Even at a distance on stage, we can tell if you are a giver or taker, and people are more likely to trust a giver. A speaker that gives them value, that teaches them something new, that inspiring them, than a taker." So, once you have defined your end goals, build a presentation that offers real value to your audience, regardless of whether they pursue you, your product or service. And if you immediately and doggedly pitch your consulting service throughout your presentation, you will probably use your audience trust, and the remainder of your presentation will lose its credibility. And so, over tips and strategies that will be fresh, useful, and insightful for your audience, and make any business pitches subtle and at the end of your presentation. So, at the number 3, we have make slides at 8, not a crutch. So, the American Speech Language Hearing Association recommends using keywords instead of sentence or paragraph on your slides. This helps your audience focus on your message. The ASHA or ASHA also suggests building body copy using punctuation sparingly and never using more than 8 words per line or 8 lines per slide. Um, Another rule of thumb is to make your font size double the average age of your audience. This means the font of most of your presentation will be between 60 or 80 points. When it comes to the age-old question, Prezi or PowerPoint, a recent Harvard study suggests there is a right answer. So, research show that Prezi's focus on meaningful movement makes it a more effective presentation medium than PowerPoint. So next time you want to impress your audience, give a Prezi a try. And for the fourth, we have practice, but really practice. What does it mean? It means that you have to make sure you are practicing your presentation in front of several groups of people. For example, present to co-workers or someone who represents your target audience, uh, ask for honest, critical feedback on the good, the bad, and the ugly of your presentation. It's also smart to record yourself during one of your presentation runs so that you can review areas that need work. And the fifth we have eat well and burn cortisol. So eating a protein-packed snack before a public speaking engagement boosts your energy, focus, and mood. But what if there were a way to decrease the stress too? Well, there is. Cortisol, also known as the stress hormone, uh, can interfere with your memory and limit your ability to process complex information. This can make it difficult to read your audience and react in the movement. So, to decrease your cortisol levels, exercise 1 to 3 hours before you speak, and you'll feel less stressed, and your audience will benefit from your focus. And at the sixth, we have meet audience member first. So, it's always good idea to meet a few of your audience member before taking the stage. This is a great way to calm the pre-presentation jitters. Uh, Not to mention network and recruit a few last-minute audience member into your meeting session. Bonus point if you find a way to incorporate those conversations into your speech. And to illustrate, suppose you talk with Laura from XYZ Sales at the coffee bar this morning. If Laura shared that sales recruitment is a big roadblock to scaling their sales team, include this anecdote in your presentation, along with tips on how you will approach the situation. And the next is give your time to acclimate. So, uh, many speakers begin talking immediately after being introduced or walking on stage. Instead, try approaching the stage in silence. This gives you time to gather your thoughts, take a deep breath, and get used to being in front of the audience. It gives your audience the chance to get used to you as well. And if they're checking email or answering some last minute texts, it provides a few buffer moments so they can wrap up. And this pause also sets the tone for the rest of your speech, which should be evenly placed, effectively, and purposeful. And number eight, we have don't open with an excuse. Uh, so, how many times have you heard a speaker start saying, "Sorry, I didn't have much time to prepare," or "My flight was delayed last night, so am I a little tired?" Uh, your audience doesn't care. Announcing to them that you haven't prepared or are tired from a long flight won't change the way your presentation is received or remembered. Don't begin your presentation with an excuse that makes the time about you when it should be about your audience and how you provide value from them. And the next, at number 9, we have be conversational. So the first 30 seconds of a speaker presentation tell you almost everything you need to know about what's next. That means you probably haven't made it past introducing yourself before you have either lost or gained the attention of your audience. So, how do you make the most of that first few seconds? First, be conversational. Use inflection in your voice and engage in natural, friendly body language. Instead of saying glued to your podium, walk casually back and forth in front of your audience. Gesture with your hands and make eye contact with individual people in front of you. And the second, don't memorize your content. You should understand the concepts you are communicating and know the overall structure of your presentation, but don't recite your speech word for word. You will seem rehearsed and less engaging. At number 10, we have rejoice in the first mistake. So, I wouldn't recommend calling out the first mistake you make in front of your audience. They likely didn't even notice. It is something you can quickly take note of internally. So don't beat yourself up about it. Feel embarrassed or let it derail your composure. Simply acknowledge your first mistake and view it as permission to relax and move on your presentation. At number 11, we have tell stories and make it personal. Um, think your audience doesn't care about personal stories? Let me put it this way. Uh, they probably care more about the story you just told and the pie chart of the screen behind you. Your audience is more likely to remember and share the story you tell than the start and figures you pack your slide with. And make your presentation personal and remind them that you are human. Check out a few top TED Talks to learn how to flex your storytelling muscles. TED Talks are driven by powerful storytelling, which is one of the reasons they are so memorable. So, stories also give your audience more context around your topic, uh, heightening their ability to relate and find value in what you have to say. Basically, when in doubt, tell a story. And at number 12, we have channel nervous energy into positive energy. So, um, if you are not excited about your presentation, why would your audience be? One way to channel excitement into your public speaking is to transform nervous energy into positive energy. Simon Sinek another has another great insight here. After watching reporters interview Olympic athletes, he noticed many of the athletes had similar responses when asked if they were nervous before competing. They answered no. Uh, I was excited. Sinek points out that they translated the body signals of anxiety or stress, sweaty palms, neck tension, fast heartbeat, as excitement. When Sinek's on stage and noticed the same signs, he says out loud to himself, I'm not nervous, I'm excited. So, on the 13th tips, we have speak slowly and pause often. So, speaking slowly is hard to do, especially when you are giving a presentation. But not only does a slower speed make it easier for your audience to understand, it also makes you seem more composed and thoughtful. Your passing through feel a little unnatural. Only then have you probably found the right cadence. Another way to control the pace of your presentation is to routinely pause for between 3 and 5 seconds. This length of pause remains conversational while allowing you to take a breath and refocus before moving forward. As a bonus, it is long enough to get people to look up from their smartphone to see why you stopped. The next is repeat audience questions. Whether you are working with a large room or a three-person meeting, try to repeat audience question in large settings. It gives everyone chance to hear what was asked, keeping them engaged with and invested in your answer. In smaller settings, repeating audience questions give you an extra few moments to gather your thoughts. More importantly, it ensures that you have understood what the question is and actively listening to the needs of your audience member. The next we have reinforce key points. So, uh, repeating key points at multiple times throughout your presentation helps your audience retain what's most important. A simple technique for doing so, mention each key point 3 times. Introduce your main points in the agenda you shared at the beginning. Speak to each point clearly during your presentation and close by reviewing and restarting your main points. And the next is use video and GIFs sparingly. I know, this one is unpopular. GIFs and video can be a great way to break up your presentation and re-engage a drifting audience, but they can also distract listener from the important points you're making. When appropriate, throw in a GIF or video, but make sure it aids in your storytelling instead of distracting from it. A truly engaging public speaker will be able to present impactfully without gimmicks. And if you are tempted to add a third GIF to your presentation, take a hard look at the quality of content you are preparing. could you illustrate the point better with a thoughtful anecdote or past experience? And the last one is always end early and say thanks. Whether your audience gave you 5 minutes of their attention or an hour, end early and say thank you. Time is a precious commodity, and they choose to spend a significant portion of it with you. Be respectful of that time and always end early, especially if you are expecting a longer question and answer period. If people have questions, you want to make the most of every second before you lose them to the next section of meeting. So that's all from me. I hope that it's gonna help you to improve your public speaking skills. And if there's anything you want to ask, just ask me on the comment below. Uh, and I'll see you in next time. See ya.